so this is our Wildcat Club lesson, and today we are talking about stress still from our stress series. And one thing that I know affects my stress levels is when there is a lot of clutter. And so we're going to do just a basic cleaning and decluttering type of lesson today. I don't know if anybody has seen that show Hoarders that is on TV. Now that's when clutter gets to the extreme. Unfortunately, but some people do take it to that extreme. So the more we can do at an early age, like you guys are at, to not go down that road, the better. Because those people, I mean, their houses are being condemned and everything. I don't know how they live in all that dirty yuck. But to some people, that's normal, I guess. But that does add to stress levels. It also makes us more sick more often when there's that much dust and dirt and bugs around. So it's important to declutter. So there are things we want to save, of course, and that's a good thing. But we don't need to save everything. And so kind of learning what to save, what to get rid of, is going to help us to be a little bit less stressed at times. I have a friend that I used to work with, and she is what she calls herself a minimalist. She doesn't like anything on the walls. She doesn't like anything on a shelf. Everything is put away. I'm an in-between person. I like to have a few knickknacks around. I like to have some books around. Yes, I do have to clean them, but I like to have a few things around that I enjoy. So there can be a happy medium. So we're just gonna kind of go through this handout, and I'm not gonna read it word for word. You guys have the handout, but we'll just kind of talk about the basic main topics in it. So clutter happens to everybody, right? Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter if you have a big house or a little house. People that are prone to clutter are going to do it no matter what. And one thing we need to think about, kind of like if you've ever seen that show Hoarders, is think about why you're keeping certain things. A lot of things, as I said, they're mementos. We want to keep hold of something that made us happy, something that showed that we did well at something. But again, we don't need to keep everything, and we don't need things that make us think about sad things in the past, because that's going to keep us sad now and make it harder for us to be stress-free and happy with life if we're thinking about sad things all the time. I mean, there are some sad things that we do need to remember, and that's for sure, but we don't need it staring us in the face all the time. So, as I said, everybody deals with this problem. So one thing to do is, in this little handout, it talks about if you get something new, it needs to replace something that needs to be leaving. So don't just keep adding to what you have, but if there's something new that you want, think of what it can be replacing so that you're not just accumulating and accumulating. Now some things you might need two of something. You might need a smaller size and a bigger size, like if you're a crafter, or if you do gardening, or if you have certain hobbies. Just one size of something might not do the trick. You might need more than one, and that's okay. It's not replacing something, but it needs to have a place to go. So that's the other thing to think about, is where are you going to put it once you get it? Is it just going to be sitting on the floor? Is it just going to be sitting on the couch? Is it going to have to stay on your bed because there's nowhere else to put it? So think about those things when you're purchasing things. And I think that helps a lot. We don't usually think that way when we go to the store and we see something and, oh, I'd like to have that. But think about it before you buy it to say, now where am I going to put it? Do I need to clean it? Do I need to worry about somebody stealing it? Because that's one thing I think about a lot. The less things in my house that anybody would want to steal, the easier I feel because I'm not home a lot. I'm at work or I'm seeing my grandkids. So if there's not a whole lot of things in my house that somebody would really want to steal, I don't have to worry about my house too much. But if I have all kinds of things that maybe cost a lot of money, or it's the newest and the best, then you're more likely to get broken into and robbed. So keep those things in mind. All these little things all have to do with having a clutter-free, helping to have a stress-free life. Because I would stress about my things if I wasn't there and couldn't take care of them. So by not having a lot of things, I don't have to stress about it. So just kind of learn those things about yourself. That's kind of what this whole series is about, is that stress has all kinds of forms and shapes, and all kinds of different things cause stress in different people. No two people are the same. So think about what causes you stress and try to do what you can to minimize that stress in your life. So the clutter facts and figures here on the first page. To some people it might be junk, and to other people it might be a treasure. So once you've kind of used something as much as you're really going to use it, and now it just sits there, whether it's clothes or whether it's something in the kitchen or whether it's a picture on the wall and you just don't enjoy looking at it anymore, donate it. Give it to St. Vincent de Paul or the Salvation Army, or have a yard sale and get rid of it. Get some money, maybe, and then you can buy something else. But kind of think through that as well. So, as I said, what might be your junk now could be somebody else's treasure that they'll enjoy for a while, and vice versa. You don't have to buy everything new. I don't know how many things I have that really are new. Most things that I have are hand-me-downs, or they're family heirlooms type of thing, or hand-me-ups from my kids. Sometimes they're getting rid of something, and hey, I could use that. But I try to get rid of other things in the meantime. So people you may know. It says most of us have family members and good friends who have clutter problems in their homes. So I don't know any of you personally. I don't know if you live in a cluttered home. I don't know if your bedroom is cluttered, but the rest of your house is clean. But you'll know that. And so just kind of keep that in mind. So you know if this applies to you or not, because it might not apply to all of you. But all of us tend to have some kind of clutter of some sort that we can get rid of. My son, he loves backpacks. He's a game warden now, but he loves any kind of backpack. He's got one for every different thing, and so that takes up a lot of space in his house. It annoys his wife. But luckily, that's his one thing that he collects. So it's good to have something that you like, that you enjoy, but try to keep it to one or two things that you collect and not 75,000 things. To bring in another TV show, I don't know if you guys have ever seen American Pickers. It's about those usually two guys. They go around and they look in people's barns and old houses and whatnot. And a lot of that stuff is clutter. And some of it is very valuable, because it can be that way after a while. But they just have so much stuff. And they have to build more barns and more buildings in order to house all their stuff. And again, think about in the long run what that costs to build that, to insure it, to worry about it. If a flood came through and destroyed it all, then you wouldn't have it anyway. So, as I said, lots of different things here to keep in mind as you're collecting stuff. So, do you have trouble locating and digging through things to find something you really need? So think about that aspect of it too. Do you have a place for everything, as I mentioned before? So it's okay to have things, but make sure they have a place, and make sure that things get back in their place when they need to. There's a whole page here on your closet and kind of your bedroom in general. So when you get home from school, don't just throw everything on the floor. Put it where it needs to go. Your clothes, hang them up, put them away, put them in the hamper, wash them, whatever it is. But don't have piles of clothes on your floor in your room so you can't even see your floor, or your closet's just stuffed full and you can't even open the door. Because again, that can harbor bugs, and you don't want bugs, spiders, whatever, roaming around in your house. So we talked about the sentimental items and keepsakes. Clutter buster ideas. So find a place for everything, like I said. Taking control of your closets. That's the one that I said has about a whole page that goes with it. So it says to kind of put things into categories. If you have space somewhere else to put, say, your winter clothes, now that hopefully winter is done with, put them away for now, bring them back out in the fall. Maybe there's 5 pair of pants that you don't fit into anymore, and you probably aren't going to fit into them again. It's time to get them out of there, give them away. So kind of go through a little bit and just a little bit at a time. When things get too cluttered, it overwhelms us, and then we don't deal with it at all. So if you take a section and say, well, I am going to go through just this top drawer, and that's what I'm going to do this Saturday, is I'm going to deal with this top drawer, and I'm going to throw away the ones that are rags, and I'm going to give away the ones that need to be given away, and I'm going to wash and keep the ones that are good. Because that's one thing to keep in mind too. A lot of people don't spring clean like they used to, and we really kind of need to be doing that still. So once a year at least, if not twice a year, spring and fall, everything in your closet, you need to wash it. And so the more you have, the longer that takes, the more energy to run the washing machine. But things hanging there, they collect dust. They collect fly droppings. They collect spider droppings. They might have spider eggs growing in them. Who knows? So things need to be cleaned on a regular basis, whether it's clothes hanging in our closet, clothes in our drawers, things in our desk, whatever. The pictures on our walls, they need to be wiped down. I heard a story one time about this little boy. It was when I used to work at a doctor's office, and this little boy had bites all over him. And they couldn't figure out what it was. The parents thought that it was ticks because they had a dog. And no, they weren't tick bites. And they were determined that they were cockroach bites. And it was all over this little boy. And they could not figure out where all these cockroaches were. That why this little boy was getting bit up all the time. Because they didn't see cockroaches in their house. Well, in this little boy's room, they thought it was cute to have on his walls. They had license plates from all kinds of different states. And you know how a license plate, not the new ugly ones, but the old ones, the metal ones, there was a groove on the inside because it butts out a little bit on the outside. And there were cockroach nests all through those grooves because they never took the things down off the wall and cleaned them. And so that poor little boy had major skin issues for a long time. And I can't imagine the pain of being bit by cockroaches that many times. So we don't always think about it, and they didn't see it. They didn't see cockroaches because they came out at night after the little boy went to bed. So kind of think through those things a little bit, that just because you don't see a bug doesn't mean there's not a bug there. So kind of keeping things clean. Again, the more clean it is, the less stress we'll have, the healthier we'll be. And being healthier is going to help reduce our stress level as well. So all these things, as I said, they all go together. So the closet might be overwhelming. So do one little section. Do just your skirts. Do just your dress pants. Do just your shoes, whatever it is. Deal with one little thing at a time. Another day, deal with the next thing. We all get overwhelmed with things like that and don't know what to do with it. There's too much. I'm just not going to deal with it. So break it down into little bite-sized pieces that you can handle. Easy steps for having a clutter-free home. These are things that kind of apply more to parents, but as you guys get older and you have more responsibilities in your households, they kind of apply to you too. So that's why I left this part on here. There were other parts of this handout that I got rid of because they applied to old people or whatever. But this kind of applies to you because you can help to help keep your house clutter-free, or the garage or whatever area you hang out in. So, and maybe by you doing it might help your parents if they're clutter freaks. So, a lot of times children can change their parents' behavior. So, keep that in mind. And so just kind of the basic steps talks about invest a few minutes every day to pick up. So don't let things pile up. It's easier to deal with things as they come up. Or every night before you go to bed, make sure a certain area is cleaned off. Make sure your clothes are put away. Something simple like that. But if it just piles up for a week, then it's a lot, and I don't want to deal with that. So little bits at a time, and stay ahead of things is always better. It says keep a box or a shopping bag in a closet for items to recycle, discard, sell, or give away. So once you've done a cleaning and gotten rid of some of your clutter, still keep a box or a bag somewhere that this is the electronics that are no good anymore and can be recycled with the electronics recycling. This is normal recycling stuff. It's papers from school that I don't need anymore. It can go to the extension office and put in the recycling bin. These are clothes that I no longer wear. They're still good, but I don't fit in them anymore. They can go to St. Vincent de Paul, or you can have a lawn sale. These are things that just need to be thrown away. Don't even put them in a bag or box, just go throw them away. So, as I said, keep up on things and it'll help to keep you a little bit more clutter-free. Don't allow items to pile up at the top or bottom of the stairs. Again, a lot of times if you have stairs in your home, you might just set things down and say, oh, I'll bring it up there later. Try to go ahead and do it, or at least make sure in the morning or at the end of the night you get that done, because otherwise it's just going to keep piling up. So, maintaining a clutter-free life. Easier said than done, right? As I said, we all have some clutter. But accept reality. Nothing is going to be totally clutter-free, even if you try to be a minimalist. My friend's husband is not a minimalist, so he likes to have things. So she kind of has to put up with some stuff for her husband's sake. But there's not as much out as he would like. So they try to find a happy medium. But a kitchen junk drawer, have somewhere to put that stuff so it's not just hanging around. Food, like in food boxes, cookie boxes, cracker boxes, need to be in the cupboard or in the pantry. Things shouldn't be left on the table or on the counter, because then you can't clean the table or the counter. And then bugs are more likely to show up, especially as the weather gets warmer. And as I said, a lot of times we don't see those bugs. Cockroaches might come in a bag of potatoes, so you might not know you have cockroaches. But you might find them in the middle of the night sometime on your table eating something that you have left on the table. So keep those things in mind, because bugs carry diseases. The other little thing that we have is called How to Clean a Cell Phone. And I wasn't going to talk about too much cleaning in general, other than the decluttering and wiping things down, making sure the dirt and the grime is gone so you don't have bugs and stuff. But the How to Clean a Cell Phone one I thought was important to all of us, because we all have cell phones now, right? They're plastered to our face for quite a few hours of the day. And think about it. How often do you clean that? Not very often, I'm sure. So, your hands, you wash them after you go to the bathroom, you wash them when you're doing things, but you might set your cell phone down at McDonald's on the counter. I guess McDonald's isn't open yet, but at the Mexican restaurant, you might set it down on the counter or the table. You're picking up germs. You might put it on the school desk. Who was just sitting at that desk? And do they have a cold or something that they're going to pass on when you pick that phone up and then put it up towards your face? You might have germs that then you're putting on there when you're talking on the phone. So, cell phone cleaning is an important thing, because that is something that we're touching all the time, and it needs to be kept clean. So, it talks about what you can use to clean your cell phone, such as a clean lint-free cloth or microfiber cloth, some disinfecting wipes. It says phone manufacturers have recently okayed these. Disposable cotton swabs, cotton balls, or cotton pads, or a small pump spray bottle filled with equal parts of distilled water and alcohol. So if you're using that pump bottle, you would be using those cotton swabs or cotton pads and just putting a little bit on that to wipe it. You don't want to be spraying your cell phone, because you don't want water, liquid, where it shouldn't be going. Excuse me, I have a cold, unfortunately. And you guys all got a little packet that has 3 individual cleaning wipes, and those are made for cell phones. So I wanted to give you something to help you clean a little bit, and that way you can clean your cell phone at least 3 times. But on this thing, it recommends that you clean your cell phone at least once a week. And if you've been somewhere sitting on the bus or somewhere that you know that that might not have been too clean, clean it more often. So what you can't use, do not use bleach or ammonia or hydrogen peroxide, aerosol sprays, or abrasive materials, because that's going to ruin your cell phone. So follow these steps for cleaning. Try not to get any moisture in there. That's why you want to put whatever on the cotton swab or the cotton ball before you put it, rub it on the cell phone. Wash your hands before you clean your cell phone. Then clean your cell phone, and then wash your hands again, because all those germs are still on you. For your phone case, if it's an easy to take off, go ahead and take it off, clean the phone, put it back on. If it's something that's made to stay on there, then just clean it as best you can. Avoid sharing your cell phone or using someone else's cell phone. That's something we all do, right? We all use our friend's cell phone now and then. I use my husband's all the time because his calculator on his cell phone is easier to get to than mine. But again, clean things so that you're not spreading germs around. Again, be aware of where you put your phone. Have you ever been in a bathroom stall and put it on something in there, or you put it on the sink in the bathroom at school when you go to wash your hands? Think of how many germs might be there. So, important thing to do, to clean your cell phone. And with that, also other things like doorknobs are something that really need to be cleaned quite often. The remote control is something that we don't usually think to clean, but again, that's something that we're touching with our hands, and our hands typically have a lot of germs. So kind of think through those things. Think about what you might touch a lot and what might really need to be cleaned. Maybe the handles on the refrigerator, of course, or on the cupboards. On your dishwasher, if you have one, the part where you pull out, because your hands might be dirty when you pull on that to load the dishwasher. So those are kind of areas that we don't think about as much, but that need to be cleaned on a regular basis. So I am going to leave it there with our cleaning. If you have your journal still, keep writing in those. Keep writing thought for the day, a joke of the day, something that makes you stressed, something that you've done to help relieve some stress. Keep up with your exercise if you've been doing that still. We haven't kind of talked about exercise since we did that lesson, but exercise is something that you need to keep doing all the time, not just once in a blue moon. So by logging that and keeping track, that helps us to keep going with it. And you'll see differences. Since I started this job here back in January, one of the other agents and I, we try to exercise during lunch. And I've seen a big difference. When I go to shovel out the sheep pen, it doesn't hurt my back as much as it used to, because I've been working on my back muscles and some of the exercises that I do. So exercise is a good thing. It can help relieve stress, help keep us healthier so that stress doesn't affect our bodies as much. But all of these things play together. And next week will be our last lesson for the year, because then school will be out, right? So I will actually be in person with you for the first week in May. I'll be there on Tuesday and Thursday, since you guys aren't there on Wednesday. And our last lesson for this year is going to be about stress eating and about portion sizes. So something to keep in mind to help keep us healthier as well, right? Because how many of us, when we get stressed, we sit there and we munch on chips, or we eat ice cream or something like that. So not always something that we want to be doing. So that's our lesson for next time. I'll see you in person, hopefully have some goodies for you, and maybe we'll make a snack or something, a good healthy snack, that's something better to munch on when you're stressed. But I'm looking forward to meeting some of you in person, and I hope you've had a good year, and we'll see you all later.